They said the streets of Brookside were quiet, safe even. But on that late afternoon, as the sun poured molten gold across the pavement, something darker slithered through the air. It began with the terrified scream of an elderly woman whose small frame shook violently as two masked men dragged her toward the alley. Her handbag was yanked so hard that the strap snapped. The moment felt frozen, as if the world held its breath. But then, in the sharp silence that followed, heavy boots struck the asphalt with purpose. A broad-shouldered biker, wearing a black leather vest stamped with the winged skull of the Hells Angels, turned around with the slow, cold certainty of a storm about to break. And in that exact second, the robbers realized they had picked the wrong woman on the wrong street, at the wrong time. If you believe the world still needs kindness, bravery, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. The woman's name was Margaret, a retired schoolteacher who had lived in that neighborhood for over 40 years. She was known for watering everyone's plants when they were away and handing out warm muffins to the kids on exam days. She never harmed a soul, and the cruelty of the attack struck deep at the fragile peace her life once held. As the robbers dragged her, she felt the sting of gravel against her palms and a fear she hadn't known in decades, a fear that reminded her just how small and breakable she truly was now. But as she cried out for help, she did not know that someone had already heard her, someone who had seen more violence than most people could fathom, and had vowed quietly to never let the helpless suffer in front of him again. The biker's name was Cole, broad, tattooed, and rough around the edges, the kind of man most people cross the street to avoid. But life had carved those edges with scars, loss, and regret. Once, long ago, he had watched a similar attack unfold, while he stood frozen, afraid, and powerless. That memory had followed him like a ghost, haunting him through the nights he rode alone. He had sworn that if he ever saw someone vulnerable being hurt again, he would never hesitate, not even for a second. And today, fate had delivered him a chance to rewrite the moment that had tormented him for so long. The robbers noticed him too late. Cole's footsteps were slow, deliberate, and unnervingly calm. His vest shifted in the light, displaying the symbol that made hardened men rethink their choices. One robber tightened his grip on Margaret, shoving her forward as if to use her as a shield. The other pulled a small blade from his pocket, thinking it would intimidate the stranger approaching. But Cole didn't flinch. He didn't break stride. He simply closed the distance with the silent fury of someone who had already decided exactly what he was going to do. What followed happened in a blur, a whirl of dust, fists, and desperate screams. Margaret stumbled to the side, clutching her torn bag close to her chest as she scrambled away from danger. Cole grabbed the wrist, holding the blade, twisting it with a precision that spoke of painful experience. The robber's scream tore through the neighborhood. The second attacker lunged, but Cole spun with a force that sent him crashing into the pavement. The men who moments earlier were confident predators were now gasping, writhing, and begging for mercy beneath the weight of a man who fought like the past itself was chasing him. And yet, even then, Cole didn't go too far. He was not there to destroy them, only to stop them. In a voice low and steady, he warned them that someone like him didn't need to lay a hand twice. The fear in their eyes told him they understood. When they scrambled away, limping down the road, clutching their bruises, they looked nothing like the bold criminals they had been moments earlier. They were just cowards, fleeing from the consequences they had nearly forced. Upon an innocent woman, Margaret stood trembling, tears streaking her cheeks as she tried to catch her breath. For a moment she couldn't speak. The adrenaline, the fear, the shock, it all pulsed through her fragile frame like a storm refusing to settle. Cole approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. He asked if she was hurt, but she shook her head, still breathless. She looked up at him, not at the tattoos or the leather or the reputation that came with his patch, but at the kindness hidden beneath the hardened exterior. To her, he didn't look like a biker from a feared motorcycle club. He looked like someone who wasn't supposed to be there, but was exactly when she needed him most. As he helped her sit down on a nearby bench, she told him how she had been on her way to visit her granddaughter. She spoke with a trembling voice about how she feared she would never see her family again, how helpless she had felt when the knife glinted near her face. Cole listened quietly, his jaw tight, his eyes distant. He didn't tell her that her fear reminded him of his younger sister, or that he had once failed to protect someone he loved just as fiercely. But maybe he didn't need to. Maybe she saw it anyway. The weight he carried, the burden that shaped the gentleness behind his rough demeanor. A few neighbors peeked out from their windows, some whispering, some shaking their heads, and others simply stunned by the sight of a Hell's Angel helping an elderly woman like a guardian who had stepped out of a legend. Appearances lied, Cole thought to himself. People judged by patches, by rumors, by stories they didn't know the truth behind. But the real story was simple. Kindness could live in anyone, anywhere, even in a man the world had already decided was beyond redemption. When the police arrived, Margaret explained everything in detail, her voice steady now, her courage restored. She insisted Cole stay with her until they were done. When the officers thanked him, he simply nodded. He didn't need recognition, not today, not ever. All he needed was the quiet, unwavering knowledge that this time he hadn't failed. As the sun dipped low and the shadows stretched long across the street, Margaret hugged him. It was a small gesture, but it caught Cole off guard. For a man who had endured years of judgment, suspicion, and fear in the eyes of strangers, her embrace felt like something rare, something healing. And for the first time in a very long while, Cole allowed himself to feel that maybe second chances didn't just belong to people like Margaret. Maybe they belonged to him too. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful, real-life tales. Before you go, tell me in the comments, do you believe kindness can come from unexpected places?